Before dragons soared through stories, before wizards cast their first spells, there were trolls. Towering, terrible, and sometimes a little ridiculous. Trolls have haunted the myths and minds of Scandinavia for over 1,000 years. They've been giants, witches, stone throwers, bridge dwellers, and shaggy beasts with tails and terrible tempers. But trolls are more than just monsters in the woods. They're a mirror of human fears and legends for more than 1,000 years. Even today, trolls are everywhere. And they don't throw stones anymore. They throw comets. Born from myth, raised on chaos, and thriving on the internet, the troll has evolved. They are smarter, more cunning, and yearning for attention on the internet. From Norse gods to Greek myths, Bible verses to bedtime stories and the internet, the troll has survived for over 1,000 years, evolving, mutating, and slipping between worlds. This is the history of trolls, mythical and real. But before we begin, remember to subscribe, and please give this video a thumbs up. Trolls, those mysterious, lumbering, sometimes laughably dim creatures, have been stomping through Nordic folklore for centuries. They come in all shapes and sizes, from hulking stone giants called juddels and rises, to sneaky little gnome-like beings lurking just out of sight. Whether towering like trees or hiding under bridges, trolls are almost always a bit dangerous, a bit foolish, and very much up to no good. These mythical misfits love the great outdoors, but not just any patch of grass will do. Trolls prefer the wild and untouched corners of the world, craggy mountain caves, deep dark forests, and even the cold, mysterious depths of the sea. Basically, if it's remote and a little spooky, there's probably a troll nearby. No one's quite sure where the word troll originally came from. Some think it might be related to trell, an old word for slave, while others suggest it's linked to ancient Germanic words meaning to crush or to tumble. And here's a fun twist. The word trolling is actually a cousin of to conjure or to cast a spell. Originally, troll meant to turn into a troll, and so the word magic, trilling, has its roots in witchcraft, trollery, and troll power. When someone say, "Don't jinx it," that's the modern version of an old belief. Speaking of bad things might just make them happen. The Norse had a phrase for this too, to go troll in words. It is based on the idea of no words and taboos, that is, the widespread and ancient fear of speaking about evil forces or dangers by their true names. You might summon the very thing you fear. A Swedish saying from 1678 puts it nicely. When you speak of the troll, it's not far away. The Germans had a similar warning. Name the devil, and he will appear. In Denmark and Sweden, trolls of the giant variety are called
jätte, gädde,
which simply means giant. These words, like the Norwegian jotul, come from the Old Norse Jotun, possibly linked to the idea of a great eater. Because, let's be real, giant trolls probably don't skip meals. Long before they started lurking on the internet, in children's storybooks or hiding under bridges, trolls were already wreaking havoc in ancient texts. One of the earliest known appearances is in the Prose Edda from around 1220, where we meet a monstrous, many-headed troll beast straight out of a nightmare. Today, we mostly know trolls from fairy tales, legends, and folk songs, especially the beloved Norwegian folk tales collected by Asbjørnsen and Moe in 1844, where trolls often steal the show, and sometimes the princess. These creatures were usually described as enormous and terrifying, not exactly the friendly neighborhood type. Think hideous mugs with noses like tree trunks, eyes as big as pewter plates, and the occasional extra head, or, in some cases, just one big, glaring eye. After the Norse gods faded and Christianity swept across Norway, the stories twisted. Trolls became the dark reflection of the new faith, monstrous beings that roamed the wilds, furious at the sound of church bells and the sight of crosses. Trolls were no friends to gods, and even less to humans. In the old tales, they didn't just hate Christians, they could smell them.
"I smell the blood of a Christian man,"
they growl, their voices echoing through the mountains. For a Christian, walking through their territory as a believer was to risk being hunted. All it took was a scent on the wind, and the trolls would come raging down from the hills and mountains. Trolls lived far from civilization, tucked away in icy mountain caves or strange, distant lands. But they also roamed the forests and seas, with water trolls and woodland trolls popping up in their own creepy corners. They shared a lot in common with the Jotnar of Norse mythology, those ancient giants who stood in opposition to the old Viking gods. I made a video about that. Check that out after you finish this. But trolls aren't just a Nordic thing. Across cultures, they have some wild cousins. Take the Greek Cyclops, for example, those one-eyed giants who chucked boulders at Odysseus and his crew. Trolls did the same thing, only they preferred to hurl rocks at churches. Trolls would only come out at night because of their sun allergy. Old folk belief held that trolls turned to stone the moment sunlight touched them. They would instant turn into rock. And when people later stumbled upon oddly placed boulders in the countryside, well, clearly that was troll handiwork. Proof, if you ask the locals. Some even said that being touched by a troll could turn you to stone too. Trolls appear in stories from all over the world, though they vary wildly by region. Denmark have trolls, but also have elf-like beings called elf folk or bjergfolk, literally meaning hill people, which is weird since Denmark is one of the flattest countries in the world. And their highest mountain is a hill of only 147 meters tall, called, I hope humorlessly, the Sky Mountain. In Finland, they're known as Pico or Heisid, and in Germany, trolls often shrink down into dwarves. In Iceland, they have the infamous Christmas hag Gryla. The hidden people of the hills and enchanted troll stones are all part of a vibrant, living tradition. Trolls didn't just haunt the forests and mountains. They also marched right into Scandinavian art, music, and literature, especially during the Romantic period of the 1800s. And in Norway, no one captured their wild charm quite like two legendary names, illustrator Theodor Kittelsen and the playwright Henrik Ibsen, one of the greatest playwrights in history. Kittelsen's iconic troll drawings, lumpy creatures with cow tails and haunting eyes, were actually inspired by Ibsen's famous theater play, Peer Gynt from 1867. In that story, our roguish hero Peer stumbles into the mountain hall of the troll king himself, the mighty Dovregubben. Ibsen's Dovregubben is also a bit different from your usual dim-witted troll. He's clever, cryptic, and philosophical. There, he meets a whole host of strange beings, some with pig snouts, most with tails, and all a little off their rockers. Peer is warned he too might grow a tail if he chooses to stay underground and avoid the light of day. Tails weren't originally a troll thing. In older folklore, tails were mostly associated with the Huldra, a mysterious forest spirit, not a troll. The Huldra is a mysterious, seductive forest spirit, often described as a beautiful woman with long golden hair, who lures men deep into the woods. The word Huldra comes from huld, meaning hidden or secret. She's one of the Hulderfolk, the hidden people, supernatural beings that live just outside the human world, often underground or in the wilderness. And believe it or not, trolls have even made guest appearances in the Bible, at least in Norwegian versions. In the 1930 and 1978 translations, the word troll pops up twice, Isaiah 13 verse 21 and 34:14. It said, "But wild animals shall lie down there, and their houses shall be full of owls. Ostriches shall dwell there, and trolls shall dance about there." But by the time the 2011 version came out, the trolls had been edited out. Over time, troll has come to mean more than just mountain monsters. It can also describe someone who's wild, unpredictable, or just plain impossible to deal with. And in the age of the internet, the trolls have gone digital and have popped up all over the world. Internet trolls are the sneaky troublemakers who lurk in online forums, stirring the pot with outrageous comments and fake facts, or their own belief that they know something others don't. Believe me, I've had a few of them here on my channel. There's no definitive record of who the first internet troll was, but the concept of trolling emerged in the early days of the internet, specifically in the late 1980s to early 1990s. One of the earliest documented examples of trolling came from Usenet in the late 80s. Users on certain boards would post deliberately provocative or off-topic messages. not necessarily to hurt others, but to stir confusion or bait emotional responses. Ironically, it didn't take long before the behavior began to resemble the mythical troll, lurking, taunting, and generally being a nuisance to other people. According to psychiatrists, people troll on the internet for all sorts of reasons, from boredom and amusement to a craving for attention or control. The anonymity of the web gives them freedom to provoke, offend, or confuse without facing real consequences. Whether it's mischief, malice, or manipulation, trolling taps into a very human urge to be noticed, even if it means stirring up trouble. There have been multiple confirmed deaths where online trolls encouraged self-harm or self-inflicted just for their own perverted entertainment. After the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, trolls spread conspiracy theories, claiming the massacre was a false flag and that the grieving parents were crisis actors. Victims' families were harassed relentlessly, leading to lawsuits against InfoWars and their founder, who was ultimately ordered to pay over $1 billion in damages to families for defamation. But trolls have also gone from scary to souvenirs. You'll find them smiling from shelves in every tourist shop across Scandinavia, usually in the form of little figurines, postcards, or fuzzy plush dolls. But trolls also live on in pop culture, especially in the English-speaking world. You'll spot troll-like monsters in comics like ElfQuest, fantasy novels, and video games galore, like World of Warcraft. They tend to be big, brutish, and not particularly chatty. And of course, trolls have a softer side too. In children's literature, they've become friendly and whimsical. From mountain-dwelling giants to keyboard baron von Butthurts, trolls have evolved from legend to meme, but their impact is anything but fiction. Whether they haunt the forests of old folktales or the comment sections of modern life, trolls remind us that chaos always finds a home. Remember to subscribe.